Arabic scholars re-engineered Greek philosophy into a highly ordered system of thought. At the center of this project was a specific problematic text, Aristotle's Metaphysics. When this work first arrived in the Islamic world, it was a collection of disjointed lecture notes. The text lacked the precise framework Aristotle demanded for a science in his own epistemological guide, the Posterior Analytics. The Greek foundation was too structurally unstable and far too culturally foreign to serve as the primary science for a new civilization. This created a conflict between falsafa, the tradition of Greek rational philosophy, and kalam, the dialectical theology of Islamic monotheism. Aristotle's prime mover, a passive entity that only inspires the motion of the stars, clashed with the Islamic reality of a willful creator who produced the universe from nothing. There was also a logical defect. According to the Posterior Analytics, a science must have one unified subject matter, but Aristotle's metaphysics shifted between studying God and studying the nature of existence. Over 3 centuries, Arabic philosophers executed a second beginning for the discipline, transforming it into a logically rigorous science. To survive the scrutiny of theologians, metaphysics had to become a rigorous science, capable of accommodating monotheism. This overhaul began in 9th century Baghdad, with the first extensive Arabic translation of the Metaphysics. Philosophers applied strict rules. A discipline requires a specific subject matter, a set of properties, principles, and a demonstrative method. Al-Kindi isolated the theological aspects of Aristotle's work, focusing on Book Lambda, the section dealing with the divine. He used adapted Neoplatonic texts to align Aristotle's concepts with Islamic tenets, like God's oneness. Neoplatonic philosophy views all reality as an emanation from a single supreme source. This approach focused on the divine while ignoring the broader study of existence, leaving the discipline structurally incomplete. Al-Kindi achieved compatibility with Islam, but failed to create a universal science. Al-Farabi shifted the focus of metaphysics in his essay The Enumeration of the Sciences. He argued that metaphysics is the universal study of existence itself, or being qua being. By examining the basic properties of reality, this foundation grounds all other sciences. In this system, theology is a specific part resting on this foundation, treating the divine as a subset of universal existence. This model relied strictly on logical proof, which placed philosophy in a superior position to the rhetoric of prophetic revelation. Al-Farabi achieved structural rigor, but his rational distance from revelation left the discipline culturally vulnerable. Ibn Sina, or Avicenna, merged these models in his 11th century encyclopedia, The Cure. He stated that the subject of the science is existence, but its final goal is proving the first cause, or God. This dual-purpose framework satisfied every logical demand of the Posterior Analytics. Metaphysics became the foundational anchor, proving the universal concepts that physics and mathematics take for granted. He detailed this in a section called The Science of Divine Things. Avicenna transformed theology into the necessary apex of an ontological pyramid. Avicenna introduced a distinction between essence, what a thing is, and existence, the fact that it is. For every created being, these are separate. A thing has an essence defining what it is, but it requires an external cause to bring it into existence. This distinction provided a proof of God based entirely on the logic of causation rather than physical motion. The causal chain must terminate in a being whose essence is purely to exist, the necessary existent. This completely uncoupled theology from physics, officially removing Aristotle's reliance on a prime mover physically pushing celestial spheres. By splitting essence from existence, Avicenna provided a logical formula that satisfied Greek epistemology and Islamic creationism. Avicenna did not merely comment on Aristotle, he provided a more rigorous reorganization of the science. Avicenna's Arabic texts integrated these disparate disciplines into a single comprehensive system. Aristotle's original metaphysics was eventually bypassed in Eastern intellectual centers. His work, Pointers and Reminders, became the standard text, generating centuries of independent study. Avicenna's reorganization of the science provided a structural clarity that the original Greek lecture notes lacked. This model expanded into the Safavid era of Iran, leading to centuries of elaboration by scholars like Mullah Sadra. Even Islamic theologians like al-Ghazali, who were critical of philosophy, adopted Avicenna's metaphysical vocabulary to structure their own arguments. The philosopher Averroes attempted to strip away Avicenna's innovations and return to the original text of Aristotle. This framework for metaphysics crossed borders into the West, where it shaped the work of Latin scholars like Thomas Aquinas. Arabic and Islamic philosophers took a disjointed text and forged a first principles ontology capable of mapping the divine. This second beginning of metaphysics provided the logical foundation that scholars in both the East and West would build upon for centuries.